We are going to read Fireflies by Julie Brinklow. I chose this book for a couple of reasons. First reason is it's like my favorite book ever. Love this book so much. Two, I saw a firefly the other day. It's really late in the year to be seeing fireflies, but I saw one and it was incredible. So that was exciting and it totally made me think about this book. And three, we're learning about long letter I sound today. I. When you say fire, you say I. Fire. Fire. Full eyes. Flies. Yes. Fire. Flies by Julie Brinklow. So I had to do this book today. It was just meant to be. I think you're going to like it. It's such a fun book. And it just reminds me of my childhood so much. So here we go. I'll try to block that window behind us. All right. On a summer evening, I looked up from dinner through an open window to the backyard. It was growing dark. My tree house was a black shape in the tree, and I wouldn't go up there now. But something flickered there a moment. I looked, and then it was gone. It flickered again, over near the fence. Fireflies. Don't let your dinner get cold, said Mama. I forked the meat and corn and potatoes into my mouth. Please may I go out? Fireflies. Mama smiled. Daddy nodded. Go ahead, they said. I ran from the table down to the cellar to find a jar. I knew right where to look. Behind the stairs. The jars were dusty, so I polished one clean with my shirt. Then I ran up 2 steps at a time. Holes, I remembered, so they can breathe. And as quietly as I could, so she wouldn't catch me dulling them, I poked holes in the top of the jar with Mama's good scissors. Naughty, naughty. The screen door banged behind me, and I ran from the house. If someone said, "Don't slam it," I wasn't even listening. I called to my friends in the streets, "Fireflies!" But they had come before me with their polished jars already, and others were coming behind them. The sky was darker now. My ears rang with crickets, and my eyes stung from staring too long. I blinked as hard as I could to focus and watch them. Fireflies, blinking on, blinking off, dipping low and soaring high above my head, making white patterns in the dark. We ran around like crazy, barefoot in the grass. Catch them, we cried, grasping at the lights. Suddenly, a voice called out above all the others, "I caught one!" And it was my own. I thrust my hand into the jar and spread it open. The jar glowed like moonlight, and I held it in my hands. I felt a tremble of joy, and I shouted, "I can catch hundreds!" Then we dashed about, waving our hands in the air like nets, catching 2, catching 10, catching hundreds of fireflies, thrusting them into the jars, waving our hands around for more. Then someone called from my house, "It's time to come And then the other moms called from their houses, and it was over. My friends took the jar of fireflies to their different homes. I climbed the stairs to my room and set the jar on the table by my bed. Mama kissed me and turned out the light. I caught hundreds, I said. Daddy called from the hallway. See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile, I called back. I caught hundreds of fireflies. In the dark, I watched the fireflies from my bed. They blinked on and off, and the jar glowed like moonlight. But it wasn't the same. The fireflies were beating their wings against the glass and then fell to the bottom. And then they just lay there. The light in the jar turned yellow, like a flashlight left on too long. I tried to swallow, but something in my throat would not go down. The lights grew dimmer, and then green, kind of like the moonlight underwater. I shut my eyes tight and I pulled my pillow over my head. They were my fireflies! I caught them! They made moonlight in my jar. But the jar was nearly dark now. I flung off my covers. I went to the window. I opened the jar and I aimed it at the stars. Fly. Then the jar began to glow, green, and then gold, and then white as the moon. And the fireflies poured out into the night. Fireflies, blinking on, blinking off, dipping low and soaring high above my head, making circles around the moon like dancing stars. I held the jar, dark and empty in my hands. The moonlight and the fireflies swam in my tears, but I could feel myself smiling. And that is my favorite picture in the whole book, because he's really, really sad, but at the same time, he's happy, because he did the right thing, didn't he? Yes, he did. So he looks happy, sad, crying, and happy at the same time. It happens. I hope you enjoyed Fireflies by Julie Brinklow.